Sarah quits her job at 35. David works until he's 65. They both had the exact same income, lived in the same city, and saved the same percentage of their paycheck. They both think they followed the right rules. They are both wrong because neither of them calculated their true FIRE number. And when you do, the gap between working forever and retiring early is completely different than what you have been told. Let's keep this fair. Sarah and David both earn $70,000 a year. They both want the exact same lifestyle in retirement, requiring $40,000 a year to cover all their living expenses. They both start investing on the exact same day. The only difference is how they calculate their target number. Sarah uses the traditional retirement formula promoted by most financial planners. She aims for $2 million because she was told she needs a massive nest egg to survive 30 or 40 years without a paycheck. The advisor tells her it is a safe target, full security, no risk, and in 30 years, she can finally enjoy her life. Simple, safe, no stress attached. At least that's how it sounds. David uses the rule of 25 based on the 4% safe withdrawal rate. His target number is 1 million. That is 1 million less than Sarah needs to accumulate before quitting. The traditional advisor does not need to say anything. Sarah can feel that massive gap already. On day 1, David's target feels achievable, his timeline is shorter, and he is building his strategy feeling like he unlocked a shortcut. But there is something Sarah does not realize yet. The structure of David's math is fundamentally different from hers in a way that goes beyond traditional savings rules. Every dollar Sarah saves beyond her actual requirement is buying her unnecessary insurance. Every dollar David saves is directly buying back his freedom, and that distinction over time is worth decades of his life. For 10 years, Sarah is following standard advice: safe investments, heavy cash cushions, waiting for age 65. Something goes wrong with the economy. Covered. Market drops 20%. Covered. Inflation spikes up unexpectedly. Covered. Sarah's plan has zero flexibility, maximum security, and zero chance of early freedom. David, different story. He is investing aggressively into low-cost, broad market index funds and watching his compound interest work in real time. By year 5, his $100,000 balance is generating real returns. By year 10, compounding takes over, adding more to his portfolio than his annual contributions. Meanwhile, Sarah is still waiting to hit a target that keeps moving further away. That means for the first decade, Sarah is working years she does not actually need to work. That is called working in overdrive. And psychologically, it feels exhausting. Every extra year at work feels like trading freedom for unnecessary safety. David sees this. Everyone around Sarah sees this, and the verdict seems obvious. Sarah is taking the safe route. Let's run the actual numbers through year 15. David's portfolio hits 1 million, based on historical market returns averaging 8% and accounting for inflation. His money generates $40,000 a year automatically without touching the principal. David has spent 15 years working. On paper, David is done. He can hand in his resignation and step away. But year 15 is where Sarah's story takes a turn. She is only halfway to her $2 million goal. She looks at her path and has 3 options. Option 1, keep working another 15 years until she hits $2 million. Option 2, lower her lifestyle expenses to quit sooner. Option 3, learn the real math behind safe withdrawal rates and adjust her target today. Sarah does what most traditional savers do. She keeps working. New goals, same routine, another 15 years of trading time for money, another decade in the office. She is back to grinding away. Her bank account grows, but her time counter does not pause. Now look at David. He's 35 years old with $1 million invested. He does not have a job anymore. He has 30 or 40 years of freedom ahead of him. Every single day he wakes up brings him complete control over his schedule. Every year Sarah works brings her one step closer to traditional retirement age, but costs her the best years of her health. This is the fundamental difference between standard retirement and early retirement math that traditional advice completely hides. One is a perpetual treadmill. The other is a calculated exit point. Age 35, David makes his final exit from corporate life. That is it. Done. His time is his. Portfolio in hand. No more mandatory alarms. From this point forward, David's only financial requirement is pulling 4% from his portfolio every year. For a moderate lifestyle, that 4% covers housing, food, travel, and healthcare. Sarah is still swiping her time card every single morning. She does not think about it much because working has just become part of her identity. That is the danger of traditional financial targets. It normalizes working 40 years by default. It becomes background noise. But background noise still costs you your life. Let's check the scoreboard at age 50. David has been retired for 15 years. He has traveled, spent time with family, built passion projects, and lived fully. His portfolio, instead of shrinking, grew to $1.4 million because average market gains beat his 4% withdrawal rate. He owns his time completely. Sarah has finally hit her $2 million target at age 50. She has spent 30 full years in the workforce. She now has 0 mandatory work, but she lost 15 prime years of her life. If we compare their real outcomes, David gained 15 years of pure freedom and has more money than he started with. Sarah, $2 million in the bank, 0 extra years of youth. The flip happened quietly, but it happened. And from here, every single year that passes makes David's decision look smarter and Sarah's look costly. The $2 million target is the safe number the traditional industry puts in front of you. It is the number on the retirement calculators, the number on bank brochures, the number the advisor writes on the paper and slides across the desk. What they don't slide across the desk is the list of assumptions built into that standard advice. Sequence of returns risk. Most standard retirement models assume terrible market drops right when you retire. Sounds scary until you realize flexibility solves most of that risk. The penalty of waiting. If you work 10 extra years just to build an overly cautious safety net, you are trading guaranteed time for theoretical security. Inflation anxiety. Financial advisors push higher targets so they can manage larger pools of capital for longer periods. You are literally paying them with your years so they can earn management fees. And if your expenses drop in retirement, which they usually do, your true target was even lower than you thought. There is no hidden trick. You are just overfunding a system you do not need. These hidden years do not show up on a standard calculator, but they show up on your lifespan. If I only showed you the advantages of retiring early, I wouldn't be giving you the full picture. Stopping work early has real risks that people like to downplay. Once you step away from the primary workforce, your primary earning power drops. Health insurance costs spike, market downturns in year 1 force you to adjust your spending, and unlike a traditional job, there is no automatic paycheck showing up every 2 weeks. You are either managing your portfolio carefully or adjusting your lifestyle when markets dip. For a typical early retiree, healthcare and unexpected expenses average several $1,000s a year. Some years, the market gains 20% and you feel invincible. Other years, a major market correction drops your portfolio value by $200,000 and tests your discipline. The volatility is the part people struggle with, at least with a traditional job. You know a paycheck is coming every month, and market downturns are real. Your $1 million portfolio can temporarily drop to $800,000 during a recession. That missing value did not disappear forever, but watching it drop hurts. The difference is that historical markets have always recovered over multi-year periods. So, the longer your horizon, the less temporary drops matter. Time in the market is the investor's best friend. Here is where the full story comes together. Over 30 years, Sarah worked 3 decades to accumulate $2 million, sacrificing her youngest, healthiest years to achieve ultimate financial safety. Add in missed opportunities, decades of stress, and lost time with family, and Sarah's total cost lands somewhere far beyond just dollars. At age 60, Sarah has plenty of money, but her prime years are gone. They never came back. David needed $1 million based on the rule of 25. He achieved it in 15 years, lived on his own terms, and allowed compound interest to grow his wealth while he enjoyed his life. His effective cost was 15 years of work instead of 30, and he still has a growing portfolio in his account, fully funded, highly resilient, and working for him. When you net it out, David spent less time working and gained ultimate freedom. Sarah spent double the time and got the same result 15 years too late. The difference over a lifetime is 15,000 hours of your life saved, and that is just assuming a standard lifestyle. Multiply that mindset across different income levels, and you are looking at decades of extra freedom between someone who blindly follows traditional retirement numbers and someone who calculates their real FIRE number. I'd be lying if I said early retirement math works for every single person automatically. There are specific situations where target numbers need to be much higher. If you have severe chronic health conditions or dependents with special needs, your baseline expenses require a much larger safety margin. That extra cushion can justify working longer and makes a conservative target the smarter play. If you plan to spend heavily on luxury travel or high-cost hobbies, you need to calculate your rule of 25 based on that higher spending, not an average lifestyle. When your annual expenses are $150,000, your FIRE number becomes $3.75 million, which changes the timeline completely. And if you are the kind of person who quits their job and just lets their portfolio sit in low-yield savings accounts instead of remaining invested in growth assets, you will run out of money quickly. But that requires basic financial literacy that you can easily learn. Be honest with yourself about whether you actually understand portfolio management or just want to stop working. For the average person willing to follow simple index investing, the real math wins. It is not the traditional answer. Nobody is writing news articles about people retiring comfortably on modest portfolios at 35. But the math does not care about traditional rules. Sarah and David both started their careers wanting financial security. Sarah thought she needed millions to be safer. David calculated his exact baseline and executed a focused plan. Neither of them guessed, but only one of them questioned the standard timeline. The real trap isn't working hard, and it isn't saving money. The real trap is picking a retirement target based on generic rules of thumb without ever asking how many years of your life that target costs you. And if you are thinking about accelerating this process even faster using passive income streams, that is a completely different conversation. And the strategy might surprise you. But for now, the next time someone tells you that you need millions of dollars before you can stop working, ask yourself one question. What does this target actually cost me in time? Because that is the only metric that matters.